Hi, Subuola. How you doing?
Hi, Stephanie. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for, being part of this and sharing your story on our platform and just for the entire ecosystem of startups to have privy into um what you're doing for Beauty Hut and just what your theme is about. So quick one, right? Um, we you know that Women's Day is coming up this March, right? I have like a very special question to ask you, right? Um, for women, there are statistics that give us like an insight as to you know what the amount of female founders are currently in the startup industry and just even generally as entrepreneurs, right? What inspired you to be like, you know what, I'm not gonna rely or even like wait for somebody to tell me what to do. Uh, you know, there's opportunity in this particular industry and I want to start something up and do it by myself and bring it to fruition to the point where, it's raising a couple of thousand or millions, naira, right? What was that driving force for you and how have you been able to maintain it despite the fact that, they're naysayers essentially?
I think the answer, I guess my answer would be in different parts. I think that the reason why I decided to build Beauty Huts is because I saw huge white space in the industry. And the reason why I felt that the industry was overlooked is because it's typically led by women or because like the actual business in itself focuses more on women than it does our male counterparts. So people kind of haven't seen the value of the industry because of the gender of the person that is most significant in this industry. So for me, that was first of all my first reason. There's so much white space here. There's so many problems that haven't been solved within beauty and distribution. And I believe that this is an avenue where women can thrive. I think for us, well, no, I think I know for us that our main goal as a company is to champion African women in an industry they know best. So I think that's always been my driving force. And then I would say in terms of what made me, go forward, regardless of what people were saying, was, people really don't have everything figured out all the time, and people try and, project their kind of opinions or their own thoughts on you. So you just kind of need to like distance yourself from other people's opinions a lot of the time. I remember when I first started, someone asked me, so 3 years ago, I'd built the proof of concept for this business. And when I first started that, someone asked me, oh, so what's your real job? And it was a man that asked me. And it was kind of disappointing because I was at the stage of the business where we had employees, we were paying salaries, we had a physical store, and you still don't believe that this can be my real job. I think women are constantly pushed into the side hustle mechanic or the side hustle mentality that, oh, if a woman is selling beauty products, it's just a side hustle, just going to make a bit of pocket money. If I'm selling food, if I'm selling clothes, or whatever the case may be, I think that sometimes people put you in a box. And a lot of the time, the people doing this are men. So I think that when I looked at that situation, the person that asked me didn't even have a full-time job. And it's like people just project um, what they think the life that you should be living or the life that you should be building is. And sometimes people think that things that women are typically interested in are just not as important. So I think that just distancing yourself from other people's opinions is definitely something that helped me get this far. In terms of raising money, and going down that venture building route, I did have naysayers for that as well. People have literally told me why would anybody like invest in this, right? And today, having investors, having people that believe in this, having people constantly reaching out to invest in the business has again showed me that if I didn't distance myself from that opinion that was put on me so early on, I would never have gotten here. And I think that it's just important to know that as a woman as well, To even get to that stage, you have to prove yourself more, again, than your male counterparts. So one thing I knew from early on, and this when I started, I guess the idea for Beauty Hut came in 2021. So when I started working towards it, building it, it was 2021, even though we launched in 2023. So one thing that was at the top of my mind is that for men, when people invest in ideas, but for women, people invest in revenue. So it was so important for me to show that this business was viable from a revenue standpoint and that it could make money, because I knew that I'm not necessarily in the same position as, again, my male counterparts that would build the same business and just sell a dream or sell an idea. So I think that definitely as women, we, by virtue of what we live in today, the world we live in today, we have to push ourselves much more. But I think that the real value is in knowing the strengths of being a woman and the strengths of having that perseverance, as well as consistency and just pushing through and just doing what you love, regardless of what people say.
Yeah. It's very funny because even right from like earlier on growing up, I knew that for a fact money did not know gender, right? So it's very funny to hear that people just, segregate money to say, a man will make more money, especially in like entrepreneurship and startup culture. So I'm interested in knowing, what formed these mindsets, what made you even venture into it in the first place, right? What was the significant moment or experience that shaped your journey? Pre, the startup stage, and then, during startup journey.
So when you say, sorry, can you just repeat the question? What?
Okay, the significant moment or experience that shaped your journey, right? Right from, earlier on before you said that you wanted to start up a business. Yeah.
I think for me, I didn't really have a significant moment. I think for me, it was just a gradual journey of building up to what my vision is, and building up. Like, I think there's things that have happened in the business that I never really even would have expected, at the beginning, in a good way. So I think that at the beginning, I would say what shaped my journey was just the willingness to be on the journey and the willingness to kind of take every day as it is and just keep going. And I don't know if that's like the ideal answer, but I think when people ask you like, what was your aha moment or what was your, I don't know that I have experienced that in just one go. For me, it's just like I started with a small idea, continued to build it, and I got here. And I think there is so much beauty in the journey. And I think people don't realize that because it's a tough one. Trust me, it's so tough. But when you just look back, like looking back at where I was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I'm in shock as to what this business is today. And I think that's where the joy comes from.
Yeah. All right. What would you say to women out there who have maybe day jobs and they're looking to like evolve into like a startup founder? What's the one thing you tell them to do to make it easier for them to start right?
So so my first advice would be like, don't quit your day job because you have this amazing idea, right? I think that a steady source of income, especially when you have people that depending on you, so maybe you have kids, maybe you have family that you're taking care of, and also yourself, is extremely important. And the reality of building a startup is at the beginning, you most likely will not have, a steady income. I think that's just like the sacrifice you make. So I'd say definitely keep the day job. But what I would say is that I think people have an exaggerated idea of what they need to start up. You know what I mean, right? You don't need a significant amount of money. What you need is customers, right? I think people are always like, okay, I need this amount of money, then I'll quit my job and I'll start. And no, it doesn't work like that. What you need to do when you're building is, get customers. And on the side of your day job, you just kind of have to make time and commit to that. A lot of people's day jobs are very intense and very demanding. You have to and I've been in that position before. You have to actually just, if it's if the sacrifice is dedicating your evenings or dedicating your weekends, that's what makes a successful founder, knowing how to sacrifice things. So, take those time outs to build on your idea, you know what I mean? And I also think that getting into the habit of bootstrapping, and, not over throwing money at things really prepares you to be a good founder. I bootstrapped the previous business. I was a proof of concept for over 3 years. And it taught me so much that now that we have money invested in the company, I know how to use it better. I know how to budget with it better. And I know how to not kind of throw it all away at different ideas. And I'm a bit more sensible with it. So I think that at the beginning, what you want to do is, stay as lean as possible, just grow as a steady rate that is comfortable for you, and just utilize your time well. But I would say you have to find that balance, and it will not be easy, because that's 2 jobs. That's the reality of it. It's 2 jobs. It won't be easy.
Yeah, and on top of that, for your mother, if you have like a large family, that's like 3, 4, 5 jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even a mother. And when I was working on the startup and I had a full-time job at the same time, I struggled, right? So it's like, I can't even imagine. And even just quitting my job and like starting full-time, I didn't have the finances that my job, had given me before, right? And that was also a struggle. So I think that like you have to leave at the right time when you have a bit of cash saved to kind of keep you going for a few months, because at the beginning of your startup journey, like you want to be returning every single cash, all the cash that your business is making, right? You don't want to be using it for your own life. So it's like you need to have that money saved up, and you need to just have a financial plan for how you get through that period of life.
Okay. So Subuola, thank you for like the insights that you've given us as to, how to bootstrap, how the best option sometimes is to bootstrap and not quit your day job. Especially if, you'd your concept or your idea would need more time for people to buy into it. Right. So I would like to know who is Subuola, right? What does she enjoy doing? Before she started this startup, that is who is she?
Okay, so she's me. I'm Subuola, and I am the founder of Beauty Hut, as you know. And I say in terms of like what I enjoy doing, inside and outside of business, I love building. I love finding newness. I enjoy beauty in itself outside of business. So like skincare, I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to products. Um, what else do I love? I love hanging out with my friends. I'm very normal, very, very normal. But yeah, I would say that I think one thing that I do like is solving problems. I think that is a huge one.
Okay. So you have described how your startup came to be, right? But I would like some specific like insight as to, you know, what the journey was like, registering it, who your first investors were, like how did you pitch to them? How did you figure out the archetype of the investors that you wanted to, support your brand? Just that like the first 6 months, what was it like before your startup came to like life?
Okay, so I think the first thing to know is that before I started Beauty Huts, I built the proof of concept. It was called Skinscience. So I would say that it wasn't like a brand new journey for me. A lot of it was a transition. So that was really good in terms of it taught me so much in terms of like building a business. And it taught me a lot about what the beauty customer in quotes needs. So when I did start reaching out for investments and whatnot, it was almost like on the back of that business. So I'd say one key thing that I used to pitch my business was the proof of concept business that I had built. So I think that's always a great way if you want to like secure funding, is to have a proof that you've done this before and you can do it even better. So that was number one. I think in terms of like my first investors were angels. angel investors. And one of my first investors was also an accelerator. So I can speak about both. On the angel side, I would say that like definitely in today's funding environment where a lot of cash is not necessarily being distributed in Africa, it's a bit more of a difficult route if you don't have a wealthy network around you, because angel investors typically have a bit of spare cash on the side. But my first angel was somebody that I did not know. I had no like connection with this person, and it was just based on meeting me speaking about my vision, and them just being ready to drop a check immediately. And I think that really speaks to the fact that people invest in you, not just the business, invest in you. And today, that particular investor, even though Beauty Heart is only 3 months in, he's invested in, I want to say, over maybe 30 companies. And he said Beauty Heart is the best investments he's ever made. So I think that really hit home, because it's just like, you didn't even know me, right? And you trusted me with all this money, and you still trust me, right? You don't feel in any way like that maybe I shouldn't have done this. So
Yeah.
I think that really gave me a lot of confidence. And then on the accelerator side, I joined an accelerator program, the Texas program. They're one of the most active pre-seed investors in the world. And it's quite a competitive program to get into, but I definitely say that anybody that is considering building a startup or is already working on it, I think that an accelerator program really, really helps in terms of investor readiness and just helping you understand what it means to build a venture scalable business, because that information, whilst it might seem that it's very readily available, it's not. And I'm so grateful for being a part of that program. And I think that I think really what the issue is when it comes to like building a business and the lack of education around what it means to venture scale your business, is a huge issue. And like, I think people have, these goals and these dreams of like building businesses in certain ways, but they don't know the secrets, and, they don't know the ways that people got to those. So much exposes you to so many people, so many mentors, and so much support. So I think that I would recommend it for anybody. And I think that's a good way to kind of like sum up my investment journey so far.
Okay. So I think we're going to have to move. So what advice would you leave the other founders?
So I think I'd say two things. I don't know if two things is fine. But the first thing I would say is that one of the most important lessons I've learned as a founder is the concept of strong opinions weakly held. As a founder, it's so important to be so passionate and obsessed with your product that you know everything, or as much as you can know about the product, and you are sure that this is a product that would work. You need to have that confidence in your business. However, the reality of it is that you also don't know everything. And sometimes you're faced with things in business that force you to make decisions that may not have been your initial thinking, or like to change things about your business. And I find that when I speak to founders, a lot of people are a bit more, is their idea. However, to be a successful founder, you need to be able to weakly hold on to those strong opinions, have strong opinions, but once something changes those opinions, or like a fact is brought to life that doesn't work, you have to keep moving as a founder. You have to make quick decisions. So that's my first one. And then I would say second one is consistency. Consistency is like one of the things that I am so grateful for, is the fact that I've been consistent. There's so many partnerships that are coming to life now that I started going out for 3 years ago, right? And it's like, if I had given up after year one or year two, I would never have known that I was capable of achieving that. Right. So I think that the consistency shows you how much you can grow into, right? And I think we give up so easily sometimes. And I think that really and truly, you just need to take every day as it goes. And even your worst days, you just kind of need to ride through them, and see them in a more positive light, in that it's actually okay. but you just need to keep going. I think that the beauty is in the journey of like literally just going on and on. Just keep walking and things will just keep on going forward and things will come naturally. But the point is that you don't stop. You don't give up. So those are my 2 points for any other founders or aspiring founders.
Okay, right. So one last question. We have 3 minutes to go. So I think what I'm really intrigued by is what's your big why? What's the next step for your startup, right? Your big why and the next level that you hope your startup is going to grow into.
Okay, so I'll answer it the other way around. So the next level for my startup is to launch the B2B parts of the business where we service businesses. And the reason why is that we found that 40% of female-owned businesses play within the beauty and personal care industry. So essentially like your pharmacies, your supermarkets, your hairdressers, makeup artists, a lot of them are women or owned by women. So I think the reason why we decided to go to B2B route is that all of these people in some way play into the beauty industry. You go to the pharmacy, you buy your skincare, you go to the hairdressers, you buy your hair products. So I think that we wanted to find a way to supply products to these people at a better price, at a more competitive price, so that they can make more money and they can make better margins and they can grow their businesses more sustainably. And I think for us, that was our B2B business. And the reason why we've decided to go this route is because as a business, as I said earlier, our goal, our vision is to champion African women in an industry they know best. And through distribution to all these businesses that are owned by women, we believe that we can increase independence, financial independence, help women make more money through an industry that they are already so proficient in. So I'd say that's the way to answer those questions.
Okay, all right, thank you. So that's perfect. So let me take